All right. So it's like we're live here. I'm sitting outside the co-op, and I walked over here to get some eggs and some distilled water. And I wanted to share a little bit about my day yesterday. I'm doing a lot of work right now. I'm doing work with my good friend Randall Grizzle to launch his internet marketing coaching company and sales company. I am working with amazing coaches of my own to gain, thanks for the thumbs up, you guys, to gain more knowledge and insight into myself, and then passing that information forward to my friends and my family, my clients that I'm so incredibly blessed to have, and that's what really turns me on. Hey, Aaron Cook is one of my closest friends. We don't get to see each other near enough, but from high school, he's that guy that just loved on me when I wasn't lovable, and I'm grateful you're here, Aaron. And Rick, welcome. Hey, buddy. And so I had a really awesome day yesterday. It was a bittersweet day, and it was all this stuff going on. One of the things that I think maybe you deal with this as well is, am I capable? Am I enough to do what I see in my mind? And I know the answer to that. The answer is absolutely yes. It's a skill-based life, and there are coaches and mentors to teach us to do anything that we truly want to do in the world. My friend Chad Terrell, the original hippie, my friend. I love you, brother. And Holly, I'm so cool to see my high school friends hopping on here. These are wonderful people. But I struggled with that yesterday because there's a lot going on. Being present with my children, being present with the people that I love in my life, as well as showing up and producing results in people's lives, helping them to produce results in their lives. So that was what was going on yesterday. And yesterday afternoon, I had a couple of calls with, thank God, dear friends that are loving and forgiving, because I skipped those calls because I just knew in my gut that I hit that point where I needed to take some time to myself. And something completely outside of what I've been doing, outside of, staying under 50 carbs a day, outside of, I'm stretching right now. I'm getting back into shape, so no heavy weights yet. Eva is going to crush me on those things pretty soon. But, I needed to check out completely into something different than what I do on the day-to-day. So I went back and I picked up the book Dharma Bums by Jack Kerouac. I don't know about you, but Jack Kerouac's books, especially On the Road, inspired me to travel because I've got an intense wanderlust. And I got married, and I'm grateful for that. I have 3 wonderful, beautiful children, and I love it. I regret nothing. And I didn't travel near like I did for a lot of years, for over 20. And I laid on my bed, read Dharma Bums, and it was so resonating with me, like in my soul. It's like, oh, the simplicity of travel and close friends and reading books and drinking wine, which I don't do anymore. I'm a hell of a lot of fun for a while. But it was interesting because it put me in this intense melancholy state. And for me, it was, I love those spaces, and I now know that they're pretty rare. And when I feel them coming on, I embrace them. And deep insights come from that. So I walked from my apartment that my son Carson and I live in the North End, like right over there from the co-op. And I started walking last evening about 8 o'clock, and it was drizzling, which I kind of like that. And I just walked, and I walked street by street by street. I walked down in front of Bitter Creek. I looked up in the apartment buildings where David Klein, back in the movie days, back before kids, I used to hang out with my high school good friend Dave Klein. So inspired. He had just written a movie called Clerks, and we're in this little eclectic scene here in Boise, and I was lovingly a part of it with Dave Yasuda, Jodine Revere, David Klein, Jay Appleman, just brilliant, Travis Schwartz, Gregory Bain, and it was such a beautiful time in my life. And I walked through there to in front of the Blues Bouquet, which is now closed, kind of sad. I remember passing out, drunk ass, silly, in front of the Blues Bouquet, because my office was right down below that. Aaron Cook, you'll remember this, when we went from flat ass broke to hitting the dot-com boom and earning so much stupid money. Earning it, keeping it, growth, completely separate things. So we earned a ton of money, and I just had a lot of money to buy more booze and, you know, medications, and it caught up with me. That harmed my marriage. So I got to walk through that and reminisce. I looked up in the Idaho Hotel on that second floor in the alcove. That used to be my apartment back in those days, because frankly I was such an asshole. It was hard for my wife to be around me at the time, so I just stayed in Boise and worked and drank and thought I was all that, and without a clue about who I was, who I really was. And I walked by the Hoff building where I proposed to my wife, the mother of my children. That bittersweet feeling, you know. And it was just fascinating. As I walked through these streets, like from in front of Bitter Creek, you walk a couple blocks, they're like islands. They're like islands, and I was the observer last night. You know, I was watching and observing and feeling. And I was seeing these people together, having drinks, having appetizers, and I felt good. I felt alive, downtown Boise. And I walked into the new Grove Center, and my God, if you've not walked down there and looked up and just felt the energy and saw the lights, do it. I really wish my mom was there. You know, I don't know, I thought my mom would really appreciate that. I looked at all the buildings and beautiful lights, and although the tallest buildings in Boise happened to be bank buildings, I felt a sense of comfort. And it was the sense of comfort that we're all okay and we're together. And that's what I really got from last night. I felt so connected, and I saw the people connected. And on my walk home, I remember I was standing in front of an old building, and my son Carson and we go for walks over here, and I'm grateful for that. And we'll look at the stamped dates in the concrete, and we'll think, oh, 1908. God, can you imagine, right here, those guys, can you imagine them finishing that concrete 100 years ago? And it's like, yeah, they're just like us. They're farting and burping and telling jokes, you know. But all that time has passed, and that nostalgic, this nostalgia washed over me. And I stood in front of this porch of these two apartments, this very old, and I just imagined how many generations, how many, paps were sipped on that front step, how many kids were playing out in the front yard, and that's where the sweet and bitter aspect of that, my walk, came in, which really struck a chord with me and hit me in the heart, which is, you know, it is those connections and those relationships. For so much of my life, and I've got great mentors who identify and love me enough to say what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. They won't co-sign my bullshit ever. And I had a friend say to me, it hurt, but it was true. He says, Troy, you might consider that you look at people like resources and assets, not human beings. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's how I lived most of my life. People were assets, resources, people to join my MLM, people to, just, it wasn't authentic. It was authentic what I was, which was, you can come over here, I'll entertain you, I'll help you make money, or you help me make money, but don't get too close. Because I always felt I had an inferiority complex. I was an egomaniac with an inferiority complex, and I did not know that until I started getting help and therapy and working with coaches and sponsors. And so I've been working to rectify that. And what I found is it's our presence. It's our mere presence. And to authentically be heard and to hear another human being and the experiences that they're having. And then that moved into, so I'm walking the streets of the North End and I'm crying these like beautiful, bittersweet tears of I'm alive. And I came home and I searched for the song Turn, 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 written by Pete Seeger, the original hippie, and played most beautifully by the Byrds. And it took me back to another time when my good friend and former partner, Rourke Cooper, the man, we had a love-hate relationship, but mostly love. This guy was one of the first people to tell me what I needed to hear. And we were in a hotel room somewhere in the country, and he pulled out his Bible. He says, dude, you want to hear something funny? And I was like, I was raised fundamentalist Christian. Screw all that. He says, no, you'll like this. So he opened up Ecclesiastes from this, I forget which version it was. It wasn't the King James version. And he started reading it. It was written by Solomon. And he talks about, riches, meaningless, like chasing the wind. Women, meaningless, like chasing the wind. And he went down the line and just talked about all this stuff that we pursue. All of these externals and stuff that we pursue. And he said very clearly, meaningless, like chasing the wind. And I didn't think about Rourke, though, until today in the car. And how I'm listening to the birds because it was resonating. And I literally just felt that emotion wash over me. And I started crying driving down the road. Why is that? Because my friend Rourke Cooper is gone. He passed away way too young. He had some weird-ass thing happen in his lungs, and he died. And he's only like 10 or 15 years older than me. And in that moment, everything that happened yesterday crystallized for me. And it was like, I miss him. I miss that man because he loved me and he heard me and he believed in me. And so I get to have that relationship in my memory, in my life. And it caused me to really think about who are those people that are with me now? That's my job. Yes, I choose to earn enough money to get to go out and do what I love and share this message that's from my heart and my experiences I go through them and how I'm going through them. And, that was the thing that resonated the most. Because I've been conflicted a little bit about how do I not use people as resources and assets? How do I treat them as human beings and truly provide opportunity? And I think that was a necessary thing that God, the universe, gave to me last night, was that opportunity to go really deeply in and to just be reminded, it's us. It's us we've been looking for. First a relationship with myself, but I only found myself by having experiences with you that were painful so that I had to go in and realize that it's me, and I love what Carl Sagan wrote in the movie, Contact, my favorite movie of all time, and I butchered it, but he ultimately says, you're so capable of beautiful dreams and such horrible nightmares. You feel so alone, only you're not. And what we found is in all this emptiness, it's one another that makes us feel better, and so that's what I wanted to share with you. I wanted to share with you that it's our connection, a connection to hear and be heard and to be present with those individuals that we're with. And if you are ever in a presentation, you're presenting and you're going to present, remember, be present and remember that you are the present. And those people that are there to hear you are the present to you because they're hearing you. And so for those of us who are out there doing work and those of you who are parents and spouses and children, you're the present, and go be calm, be quiet, be silent, and just listen. And then you can go through the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. And oh my God, the rest of my life I'll be working on living up to that prayer. And that's what I got tonight. I just really wanted to share that. It may resonate. If it does resonate, man, please like and comment. I'd love to hear where you're at. And tell me what you're reading. I would love, I'm so grateful I picked up the Dharma Bums, man. I mean, it was, that's how I want to live my life, when I was in high school. And we got On the Road we're going to read tonight, Mr. Carson and I. And then also, if any of you are in the Boise Valley tomorrow, I got another spot. We're going to do some ketogenic food prepping tomorrow. Many of you know that I've been in the recovery movement. I've had a lot of challenges in that. Been in there since 03. I'm grateful that I've got coaches and mentors and people around me who have supported me. And in that, and stress and life, and you guys have it, even if you're not one of me, that causes harm to the brain, to the heart, to the body, just stress, life. And the ketogenic diet is separate from like exogenous ketones that you take as supplements. But I choose to do as long a stint of ketogenic diet food prep as I can and stay in it as long as I can so that I can have the healing benefits of being on a ketogenic lifestyle. And it's amazing how I feel. It doesn't work for everyone, but it works for over 80% of the population, some really well. And I love going into that space. And if you want to come over and learn to make that badass chili that I make, you're welcome. So if just hit me up, message me, and you can fill the spot, and we'll hang out at my mom's house. We're gonna be in Nampa. We'd love to hang out with my mom. I kind of got that thing going on. We're not all gonna be here forever, guys. You know, and I got that last night very loudly too. Everything that we've created, everything that we thought was so important, every person that we've ever loved is gonna die. They're gonna be gone. And the pain of regret is so sharp and lasting. And I choose to move forward and live my life in a way that I can honestly say I showed up. I was there. Just like I forget his name in the Shawshank Redemption. This is another one. Last night was a crying night. I remember walking, I thought, when the old man was in the hotel and he hung himself, and he looked up and he carved in that wood, I forget his name, but was here. I was here. You know, that's what we want. We just want to be heard. We want to be seen. We want to enjoy and taste and be recognized for our experience here on the planet, because I think any of us who possibly even chose to be here, or if we were just brought here, we're pretty damn badass and amazing, because it isn't always easy. You know, I post a lot of stuff about it. It's so great. You know, yeah, I do post positivity, and I avoid bitching, blaming, shaming, or naming most of the time. But the reality is we all have lives. Every single person, your greatest heroes, your greatest motivators, some days wake up wondering if they want to continue on. It's just the way it is. So you're in great company. I really appreciate you. Thank you for listening to this. And I hope you have a great night. I'm going to go get some eggs at the co-op. Love you guys. Thanks.